most complained issues in Nigeria. I think the first issue that a lot of people complain about in Nigeria these days is money. Yeah, money. I don't have money. Oh, financial. Almost every corner of Nigeria is filled with either shamans, pastors, even imams, afars, whatever you want to call them, who try to offer some form of spiritual counseling and guidance for people to, as it were, try to make a decent amount of money. Then the next one is childbearing fertility issues. It's amazing the number of people you get to find at some small shanties or some small places who are looking for and I use this term very very respectfully, the fruit of the womb. I don't know if you heard that, particularly among Christian circles, the fruit of the womb. Now, however, the child adoption issue here in Nigeria has been one that has brought about mixed feelings. Now, I know some people adopt children informally in this country, very informally. Like say, there's one neighbor in your village, or there's one woman in your village, and say, go and stay with this brother, or go and stay with this sister. We can't take care of you. Go and stay. Yes, go and stay. All right. So when the child goes there, and maybe things really work out well, maybe the child is very fortunate to be amongst decent human beings. The child is catered to, loved, sent to school. Even when the child gets to the age where the person is not independent, the child would always be appreciative. For some people, I don't know about you, but I grew up knowing that there were some people who everybody thought, that woman picking. It wasn't until the man or the woman was getting married, I said, no. I said, now the real mama be this, so now the real papa be this. I said, you mean all those years when we were in secondary school, this woman was see the real mama this, and the real papa be this. So this is informal way people adopt children here. And then there is also the one that's coming very worryingly common, the criminal way. Now, these are my questions for you. So, why is adoption relatively low in Nigeria? Because today, we had this conversation about 2 years ago. I don't know if things have changed, but people would rather not. Stories have come through. A man would know, I will not adopt. Instead, he'll go and look for another girl and try and get her pregnant if his wife is unable to bear a child. So adoption was not particularly seen as an option, because people go, you go and adopt another child. Who will not inherit your property? You give it to somebody else. We don't know. Don't be doing this kind of thing. Hey, please, let's go back to the village and let's go and see Baba. Baba will help us. Adoption frowned upon for that. Second question I'd like to ask you, and this is the one that really bothers me, because there is obviously an increasing number of Nigerians who are looking for criminal ways, looking through criminal ways to obtain a child, to get to become a parent. Those baby making factories that you've heard, the NAPTIP in Rivers State, or in Ogun State, or in Lagos State, or some obscure area in Nigeria, close down or investigate and maybe arrest some people, right? There's a reason why they are operating. They're operating because there is a market. And then you get to hear stories about women who, go to extreme lengths, pretend to be pregnant, then they go to Taraba State and go and bring a child, a newborn baby, come down, I don't born. Hey, glory be to God. Why not go through regular channels and adopt a baby? Ladies and gentlemen, as always, turn down the volume of your radio set. Refrain from making derogatory or defamatory comments. Didn't see or hear, please do not make mention of it, and please keep your conversations civil.
The views and opinions shared on this program do not represent the position of Nigeriainfo FM. Nigeriainfo, let's talk.
And now, hello Port Harcourt with Jude on 92.3 Nigeriainfo.
So 017-923-0002, 017-923-0007, 08179230002, 08179230007. At Nigeria Info PH, at Nigeria Info PH is where you find us on Facebook and on X at Nigeria Info PH, at Nigeria Info PH is where you find us on Facebook and on X. WhatsApp and Telegram, good for you on the number 0809 030 6416, 0809 030 6416, 0809 030 6416. Oh, this is a lovely message. Thank you very much. So thank you for the song. Sweet Caroline brings memories and it makes me cry. Oh, I hope these are happy tears, by the way. All right. Thank you very much. Zion is joining us from GRA. Zion, good morning to you, please.
Good morning to you, Jude.
Good morning.
Adoption is un-African.
Wow. Why?
It's not part of us.
Did you hear when I said people, unofficially adopt people in this country? Mama will go and send somebody to stay there. The child becomes the families for years and years and years. That's a form of adoption.
We don't see that as adoption.
What is it then?
We only see that you are going to live with your uncle or a relative. That is never part of adoption. It's not part of us. It is because of what the church brought to us today we are now adopting. Now most of us are not going to criminalized way buying these children. Let me reflect into the story of Okonkwo and things fall apart. Who was Ikemefuna?
He was a prisoner that was being taken care of by Okonkwo.
Adopted. But you find that the land rejected it. What led to the transfer of Okonkwo? Go and kill him in the forest or dumping. That is why do we forget our history so soon like this?
But are you basing your opinions solely on one fictional character? Yes, there's some maybe founded in truth.
Fiction. That is the problem I have with us. If it is a white man that told you this story, it won't be a fiction. It's reality. You will target history. Now, what your parents have, a conqueror will conquer you and write your history for you, except you are strong enough to debunk the lies he told you. I am not a conquered German nor African. I am a pan-African. To speak the truth, sir. Sir, do you know that the rate of adoption have led to buying of babies? A lot of our sisters are doing it.
Well, but that's the thing. The adoption we're talking about, right, is meant to be legal.
Go back to our not legal. Even the legal process. Go to the motherless baby home. Will you say child to adopt? Go there now. See the queue of some are waiting to adopt a child for the past 5 years. They are waiting for their turn. It's turn by turn. The truth is, we have a way. As a wife, the first wife or second wife, if you cannot give birth to your husband, you marry somebody for your husband. That any child this person gives birth to becomes your own. You take care of. This is how we grow. We became better. That is why I see families are surrendered and related. Somebody is from Bayelsa. He has a relation in Benue State. How they went to Benue to marry a Benue State to Bayelsa to give birth for them? Our communal life was okay. There was no war. Because of my Pekin in Benue, there will not be war in Benue. Because of our daughter in Zamfara State, we are not fighting in Zamfara. This was what gave us peace and tranquility. We now adopted the concussion they call church. See, I'm a born-again Christian. Don't remind me. I will tell you the truth. The church is a concussion. So look at the problem they caused us.
Okay, so
we take this baby to dedicate in the church.
Wait, hold on. So Zion, first and foremost, you are against adoption. So the other question of how you will rate adoption services is no, because you don't value them, and you say it's not part of what we should be doing.
Mr. Zion from Port Harcourt.
All right, we'll go on a quick break. When we come back, more from you. Has been shook. We are having comments coming off right off the back, straight off the back from our first caller. Now, he says that adoption is not an African thing. Now, the example I gave, I said it's unofficially adoption. First and foremost, maybe for the sake of clarification, let's find out what adoption is. Now, it is the act of establishing a person as parent to one who is not, in fact, or in law, his or her child. Now, adoption is so widely recognized that it can be characterized as an almost worldwide institution with historical roots traceable, and this is the important bit, traceable to antiquity. That means it can be traced to as far back as knowledge was recorded, as far back as writing or oral traditions were passed. In fact, there are some cultures where they don't necessarily have a father mother figure. It is a communal figure. So what happens is when the child is born, the child is brought into a nursery with other children, and they are all raised. So the children, they have a nursery. There's usually a group of women who nurse these babies. So the children are not raised to say this particular woman is your mommy and this particular man is your dad. No, like I said, they were all raised communally, adopted in a sense. But when we are right now in Nigeria, particularly, like I said, contemporary Nigeria, we find that there are a lot of people, and maybe by omission or commission, obviously in some cases, maybe sometimes through no fault of their own, are unable to have a child biologically. They're unable to have a child biologically. So they try to get children, through the adoption processes. Legally, that is. But these days, people are going through illegal means to become a parent. People have feigned pregnancies. People have outrightly stolen babies. Outrightly stolen babies. Somebody travels to somewhere in Benue. Maybe the person is resident in Lagos or Port Harcourt or in Cross River. Say, travels to Benue. Maybe goes to Kaduna. Maybe goes to Sokoto. And then, through some very heinous and dastardly act, connives with a nursing staff, and then, boom, obtains a baby and comes back. Why? So these three questions I would like for you to help us answer. 017-923-0002, 017-923-0007. You know the rules? Please turn on the volume of your radio set, refrain from making derogatory or defamatory comments, and keep your comments civil.
The views and opinions shared on this program do not represent the position of Nigeriainfo FM. Nigeriainfo, let's talk.
Trader, are you ready for the flight? Yeah. Maximize your gains day or night. The platform, HFM is the name.
On WhatsApp and on Telegram. 0809 030 6416, 0809 030 6416. Those who call on earlier on, apologies, please. I think the person was calling from Choba. Please, you can call once again. Beg your pardon and crave your indulgence. All right, so 0817 923 0002. 0817-923-0003, 0817-923-0002, 0817-923-0003. At Nigeriainfo PH, at Nigeriainfo PH is where you find us on Facebook and on X at Nigeriainfo PH, at Nigeriainfo PH is where you'll find us on Facebook and on X. Now, someone says, good morning, Jude. I totally support adoption, but the problem is there's too much bureaucracy in this country. And the bureaucracy is not even the good type. It's the type that you come today, pay money tomorrow, give money to this person, go here, go there. There's no formal follow-up. Do these agencies, if at all they exist in this country, it's the social welfare that my friend went through, do they do background checks? Do they find out if these men and women who are requesting for these babies to be their sons and daughters, do they have enough money to cater for them? What's their long-term plan? Do they follow up? Do they come in after 5 years, 10 years to check how well this child is growing? Nothing. People just carry babies, move to another city, and then they start a family. That's my only problem with adoption in this country. That's from Andrea. That's the only problem she has. That's a he, right? Andrea is a girl's name, isn't it? All right, 017-923-0002, 0817923-0003, 0817923-0002, 0817923-0003. All right, and let's quickly get to Facebook and X right now at Nigeriainfo PH, at Nigeriainfo PH. So the stats show they're not very conclusive, and the stats I have are kind of dated, if I'm honest, show that there is still a relative resistance to the adoption process, as the legal adoption process here in Nigeria. What I mean by legal process, I mean you probably go to the courts, go to the agencies, then they get to interview you, they do your records, and then you are able to adopt a child into your home. Now I know of one family back in Edo State who adopted. They were family friends of ours, so I knew at a point, I think it was when we were in university, but my mom told me, that boy is actually not their own child, or they adopted the child. It's like, oh really? And it was pretty. I felt a sense of respect, for what this man and woman they adopted, not because they didn't have theirs or they couldn't have theirs. They had about 3 even. But the woman was, there's some women who just love large families, and then I've come to realize that there are also some women who just love the cry of a baby. They like to see baby diapers everywhere. They like the pitter patter of crawling and stumbling. They just love babies. I don't know if that makes sense to you. All right, so you would almost always find such women in and around the presence of babies. And I mean, no matter what they do, whether they are businesswomen, whether they are ministers, whether they are, they must somehow, one way or the other, there must be a child around them. It's a very unique trait in some women. I'm not saying all women. I'm saying in some women. So when those kind of people tell you, oh look, they don't mind. I've I know of a woman who once told us, when I say us, a group of people, we were younger then, and then she was at the point of tears because we're telling her, this is our friend though, got somebody pregnant and the girl has run away. We don't know what the girl has done, but the girl has run away, obviously out of fear of what her parents might do. And her words, in verbatim please, her words were, oh please, can you people find her? If you people find her, tell her to come and stay with me. She should come with the baby. She should come herself. If her parents push her out, no problem. If she wants to go, forget about, no, she should just come home. Yes, here will be her home. She barely knew this friend of ours, but she was willing. So we always knew that there was something super maternal about. Yeah, maybe that's a word that people should start to use. Anyway, so there you have it. People who would very readily adopt a child. Once again, why then, with all the benefits, the pros and cons, though some will say there are more pros than cons of adopting a child, why then do some Nigerians go and steal babies? I'm not mincing words. NAPTIP has busted several baby-making factories here in River State, in other states. Why then would anybody, particularly the women, that's the part, maybe I'm being overly heavy on this women part, but it is what it is. It is what it is. Most of the in quotes, the clients who approach these agencies are female. So why don't they go through legal channels? Why do they go through criminal channels to get a child, to get a baby, so that they can become parents? They feign pregnancies. If I heard this story from the US or the UK or France, I probably won't bat an eyelid. But here in Nigeria, people pretend to be pregnant. Like they somehow keep increasing the volume of their tummy. And then when it's close to 9 months or 8 months, they travel. And then they come back. And everybody say, you don't born, oh. To God be the glory. Hush. 08090306416 08090306416. That's where you find us on WhatsApp and Telegram. Please don't call. Please don't call the WhatsApp number. All right, it's strictly for the reception of messages. Please don't call. All right, to call in if you want to talk to us, numbers are good. 0817-923-0002, 0817-923-0007, 0817-923-0002, 0817-923-0007. At Nigeriainfo PH, at Nigeriainfo PH is where you find us on Facebook and on X. At Nigeriainfo PH is where you find us on Facebook and on X. And let's even broaden this conversation. If you are listening to us by chance or you have legally adopted a child or several children, please call in. And if you found out, if you yourself, you know that you were adopted by a parent or parents other than your biological parents, please. Maybe some real life experiences may water down some people's minds towards it. I don't know. Okonkwo is speaking to us from Rumukuza. Okonkwo, good morning to you.
Brother Jude.
Good morning, please.
Child adoption has been an important culture and tradition of Africa.
But one of our callers says it's not Africa, no, that we don't used to adopt people.
No, the person has not read a book called African Advanced Asian History. Did you hear me?
I heard you. I'm sure everybody did.
The person should study at a higher level and come across African Advanced Asian History. The person can get up to master's or doctorate degree. So the person that said that he has not read or studied, directly out of my practical experience, when I was small, there was a group of people, a particular family. My own family adopted all the people in that family and brought them to our family.
Oh.
Till today, they are part of our family and we have integrated them. They are part of our family.
Wow.
It's just for purpose of security. I would have mentioned where I come from and the name of my family. So it has been a culture in Africa. Let me just say, right from when Africa started, from the origin of Africa.
Interesting.
Child adoption has been there.
Okay.
As a part of African culture and tradition.
Thank you very much, Okonkwo. Henry is in Woji. Henry, are you adverse to adoption?
Good morning, Jude.
Good morning, Henry.
Jude, honestly, I support adoption. There's nothing wrong at all with adoption, provided it is done in a legal way.
Okay.
But I just want to let you know, one of the major reasons why in Nigeria here people go for these criminal ways of adoption, I must be very frank with you, is because of religion.
Religion?
You know, after several years of waiting and maybe believing it will happen. Especially from the female folk, sorry to say this, they want a situation where this baby is introduced, maybe in the church as there is an elaborate thanksgiving, stay on the pulpit and tell people how God has been so merciful to you. You waited for so number of years, your husband was so patient with you, this and that, you all put heads together and fought the devil together from the in-laws, from the friends and everything, and God has made it. So nobody, that's why I don't know why all these things should be shared in this kind of secrecy. So honestly, I support adoption, but this criminality that has been introduced into it is terrible, and it's alarming. It's increasing by the day. I really love this topic. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Ochuariri is in Wojia as well. Good morning to you.
Good morning. The right producer is Chief Ochuariri. Ochuariri. Who fight for justice.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much for the correction, please. Go on.
Yes, he did mention about the woman to produce her stomach. This is an incident that happened at Owerri. The woman was arrested at Owerri. They hadn't any child with the husband. Due at the end, she stayed 9 months. 9 good months. On their way, she was given to a boy and a girl, baby boy and a baby girl.
Wow.
But they were not similar. So on their way going to Owerri, they were arrested at Owerri. The woman could not breastfeed the child, those children. Then the police arrested the woman. The husband was astonished. But the husband believed that this woman was pregnant actually. Why she was not pregnant? As she had a cut, they even gave her a cut. Why I think she delivered. But when the investigation proved, it was proved that the woman was not pregnant at all. She could not breastfeed the children. And she was arrested. It was a kind of a problem to the family. The family was astonished, and they were saying, "How can this woman do this thing? How can this woman do?" So the husband abandoned the woman.
Oh,
that is my experience.
Oh dear, that's a sad story. But once again, does that in any way prove that adoption is not proper, or actually even gives credence to the sustainability of adoption processes? Bob is in mile 4. We have Tony in OGRA. Bob, welcome to the program, please.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, please.
Yeah. So what I want to add is that our lawmakers should contribute.
So
because in some places, these adopted children are denied shares in family property.
I see.
So our lawmakers should actually enact laws making it mandatory that adopted children should be treated as the bona fide children of the adopted parents.
Well, Bob, I think it's already so in the law. I'm not sure of the legalese, but I think it is. Tonya is in OGR. Tonya, good morning to you, please. Welcome.
Good morning.
Good morning, please.
Okay. I was in a taxi and I got to hear what you were saying. I think I'm a victim of what happened.
Victim?
What you're explaining about clouds last year. Can you hear me?
Yes. How so? Why would you describe yourself as a victim, Tonya?
Oh, because my wife did it to me.
What?
Yes. Can you hear me?
We are all listening to you, Tonya.
Okay, so I didn't pressure her for anything to say have a child or it must be now or none of that. But the truth is, she was desperate and she faked pregnancy for a year plus, and this is the result of it. Bringing 2 boys to me to say she delivered a set of twins.
She delivered without you being present.
Sorry?
She delivered without you being present.
No, I wasn't there because I told her I wasn't going to be part of what she's going to do. So she should count me out of it. So the day she talked about labor and all of that, I knew she was faking it until she went to Obey, a place called Obey, and the next 2 hours or so, the next day, she delivered a set of twins, 2 boys.
Okay, now apart from that being obviously, criminal and I think unfair to you, are you adverse to adopting yourself? Would you look forward to adopting? Is this something that you consider?
I don't have a problem with that. I said it from the get-go when we got married. Like, I'm open to adoption. It's not a crime. It's something that I'm very much ready for.
Oh, dear. All right. Tonya, thank you very much for sharing your story with us. That must have been a very difficult experience to have. Wow. He didn't even know. Okay, WhatsApp messages now. 08090306416. 08090306416. That's where you find us on WhatsApp and on Telegram. Good morning, Jude. Adopting of children. Living in Nigeria for the average or regular citizen is a veritable exercise in frustration. Citizens in positions of authority and responsibility, and indeed government functionaries and politicians, must need to learn and understand that each person, no matter how small you think you are, is very important to our development as a nation. We easily frustrate one another with our small and our big positions. It is extremely frustrating to attempt adopting children through the government established process. You can understand why people seek alternatives. Abokaribo. Yes, like I said, a lot of people complain about the bottlenecks and challenges. Interestingly, one of the documents I have in front of me, or one of the reportage I got to read, this was from 2012 to 2014, actually stated that to adopt a child, a Nigerian baby, because you may not know this, you have people who come from the US, who come from the UK, who come from Belgium, who come from France, from Australia, all over the world, right? And they are looking for children that they can adopt. They want to share whatever it is they have, the lifestyle, whatever it is, right? And then they come to Nigeria, and back then it cost about $500 to adopt a child. $500. Then you might shout, "Oh, that might be expensive or that might be cheap." But if you look at the work done, you probably realize that it's not as expensive as it ought to be, number one. And then there is hardly ever any follow-up. At least maybe 5 years, 6 years, depending if you're adopting a baby. I know some people who would prefer to adopt newborns. Maybe children who were probably left on their own, abandoned by their mothers for whatever reason, 6 weeks, 8 months, whatever. Some people would prefer to adopt those kind of babies as opposed to adopting maybe 8-year-olds, 9-year-olds, or even 18-year-olds. But we see that happening all over the world. And once again, like I said, informally, a lot of people have been adopted in this country. I'm not talking about Africa. In this country, people stay with a man and a woman for so long that they start to call the person mama, papa, mommy, daddy. The interactions, the engagement, the bonds that they create are so strong that you would not be able to tell if this woman was not the mother. You wouldn't be. It is frightening. And to the caller who has had this experience, I really empathize with you. I really do. I am so sorry that you had to have that experience. Wow. How was it resolved anyway? Really? Interesting times. Interesting times we are in. Indeed. Good morning, Jude. A lot of people who are saying that adoption is not really their portion seem to forget that the Christianity that a lot of people practice in these parts says that we are adopted sons and daughters of God. So if God can adopt you, why can't you adopt another person? Kelvin is asking. Oh, okay. Good question. Very good question. I think that's where we'll put a pause on this conversation as we go on a break. If you are sons and daughters, adoptive sons and daughters of God, why can't you adopt another child? Thank you very much, Kelvin. It's a good question to ask. Well, we'll be back after the break. We'll wrap up our conversations. 10 o'clock, we have updates coming through. It's going to be some system maintenance. All right, so we get to have some recorded programs airing.
Wait, no be polo